Hey guys, my name is Alicia. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be trying out some new to me in some cases Nars products. I have got the Nars Climax Eyeshadow Palette, the Climax Mascara, and then the new holiday, this is the High Profile Cheek Palette. So if you are interested in seeing some swatches of those items, their price, and then how they apply, then just stay tuned. All right guys, I've got you pulled in a little bit closer. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the Nars Climax Eyeshadow Palette. This retails for $49. You get 9 shades in here. This is the component. It is a nice plastic packaging, very durable. I would feel very comfortable traveling with this. It is ridged, so it's kind of grippy. Of course, it is like this type of packaging where it is like, this one's not that hard to open. Some of these Nars packages can be very annoying to open, but this one actually isn't so bad. You've got a nice clear mirror in here, and then you've got your 9 eyeshadows. These are matte, metallic, and multi-dimensional eyeshadows. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some swatches of this. All right, I'm going to go row by row, and I'm going to start with the top row. These are those 3 shadows here. You've got Open Wide, which is a matte beige, such a good color for the crease. That's actually what I started my look with. And then you've got Private Show, which I also have in my crease. This was the second color that I went in with, and those two are so freaking creamy, like wow. And then you have got Passion Play. This is described as a shimmering champagne. Oh wow, those 3 shades alone would be a really pretty look in my opinion. You know, crease and outer corner, and then lid, like done. All right, on the next row you have got Envious, and that is described as a metallic copper. Look how that catches the light. Wow, so pretty. It's so smooth as well. And then you have got Hooked, which I used this on my eyes, and that is described as an antique pewter. And then you have got Next Level, and that is described as a shimmering deep brown. Some crease shades, and then that just all over the lid would be such a pretty smoky eye look. All right, and then the last row, you have got the shade Up in Smoke, which I have on my lids. That is described as a matte khaki. And then you have Public Eye, which is a matte rich brown, and I have that on my upper lash line. And then you have Night Rhythm. That color is so pretty. It is described as a shimmering slate blue. And again, just with some crease shades and that all over the lid would be such a pretty smoky eye look. All right, so this palette swatched really, really well. As you could tell, the mattes were so creamy and they swatched so well. And then of course the shimmers swatched well. I mean, I would expect no less. But yeah, this color story is completely up my alley. It just screams like everyday neutral. I could see, you know, just a very light look with this palette, but you can also go very, very deep and smoky. Screams fall to me as well. And then also, you know, like smoky bedroom type of eyes. This is a gorgeous eyeshadow palette just based upon the swatches. All right, next up, we are going to talk about the High Profile Cheek Palette. This is for holiday from Nars. This retails for $59. It is described as a contour, highlight, and blush palette, I believe. To me, it is definitely more of like a highlighter and blush palette. So this is, well, first off, let's start with the outer packaging. Such a cute like pink package. I'm not the biggest fan of having this all over the place, and it's also raised, which could make it a little bit difficult to store, you know what I mean? But It is like that annoying, like hard to open package, harder than the eyeshadow palette, but you open this up, you've got a nice big mirror, and then here are your shades. This is described as like an innovative Nars formula. It doesn't say more than that, but it reminds me of like that jelly type of a formula, kind of like baked and just glides on the skin and becomes one with the skin. I really love that formula. That was the same formula that was in the Nars Exposed cheek palette, if you're familiar with that. That color story is very, very similar to this one, which if you stay tuned to the final thoughts, you will see comparisons. But yeah, let's go ahead and give you some swatches of this palette. All right, we have got Nude Revue, I guess is how you say that. But this is described as a shimmering bronze. I actually have this under my brow bone, if you can see that. I think this is kind of too deep for my skin tone to use as a highlight on the face. I could see putting this over a bronzer. But yeah, for my skin tone, I wouldn't use that as a highlighter. Then you have got Spin Off, and look how smooth and creamy that swatch is. Wow, it felt like a cream whenever I put that on, but wow, look how pigmented that is. This is called Spin Off, and it is a shimmering mauve pink. And then you have got High Demand, again, so pigmented with that swatch. This is described as a shimmering cinnamon. Okay, and then the second and last row, you've got Hit It Off. Again, such a smooth swatch. It is described as a shimmering candy pink. Then you have got Showdown. Love that shade. It is described as a shimmering coral. And then Just Lust, and that is described as a shimmering raspberry. And as you can tell, I don't see any shimmer in these. I think it is more of like just kind of like a lit from within glowy type of a look that you will get with these, because they are so freaking smooth and just delicious, delicious formula. As you can tell, these powders are much like the top of this palette. That detailing is carried over. So really nice swatches. Love this color story as well. Everyday type of a shades that you could use day in and day out. So let's go ahead and get on to the tutorial part of this video. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the look. So far today, the only thing that I have on my face is my moisturizer, and I did prime my eyelids with the MAC Painterly Paint Pot that I have been using. So we're gonna go ahead and get started with the Climax eyeshadow palette. This is what the outer packaging of this palette looks like right here. This retails for $49. You've got like a nice plastic component. This is like ridged, so it's got like a nice grip to it. Of course, it is this just beautiful red. You can see some fingerprints on there, but it's not as bad as like those shiny, just like metallic type palettes. On the back, it does have the names of the eyeshadows. Whenever you open it up, you've got a nice big mirror in there. And here are your shades. So you have got 9 different eyeshadows. They are matte, metallic, and multi-dimensional. And I am going to go ahead and pull you guys in, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, now that I've got you guys pulled in a little bit closer, I'm going to go ahead and go in with the first shade. I'm going to go into this one right here, which is Open Wide, and it is described as a matte beige. I'm going to take my big fluffy blender brush, and we are just going to go into this shade here, tap that off, and just like normal, I'm going to do one eye on camera, and then I will do the other eye off of camera. So you can see this, even though it looks pretty light in the pan, I mean, clearly that's got some pigment to it, right? But this is just like a nice transition shade if you are my skin tone or close to it. So I really like that. It blended out very, very nicely. Now I'm going to take a smaller blender brush and I am going to go into this shade right here. This one is called Private Show and it is described as a matte mauve brown. And again, I'm going to put this in the crease as well, just a little bit lower, just to build up that dimension. Oh, I love that shade. And this palette just like screams fall to me, right? So I think I'm going to try to go into some of these green tones. I guess I will put this one on first. And I'm going to go into just a flat, like, packer brush. This right here is called Up in Smoke, and this is a matte khaki. Okay. And with this shade, I'm going to start packing this all over the lid. And this palette is described as being a smoky type palette, and I definitely do get those vibes just from the color story of that palette. Now, if I wanted to, I really could have done like a cut crease or like a half cut crease right here. But I mean, this will work fine as well. I'm just saying, if you wanted it to be a little bit sharper, could have done that. I really like day to day. I don't really take the time to do that. So as just like being practical and what I would do every day with this palette, this is very true to that. Oh man, that green shade is so pretty. So pretty. Okay. Alright, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just kind of blending that out a little bit more. I am going to take a flat but like fluffy brush and I'm going to go back into that shade Private Show. And I'm going to go right along the edges right here where the green and that shade meet. I'm just going to kind of blend this. And then I'm going to go back into that green right there, just where I lost a little bit of color right here. And I'm going to pack that on. Alright, this would be fine as is, but I'm going to go into this multi-dimensional shade here, and this is called Hooked. This is described as an antique pewter. And I'm going to pack that on my lid. Oh man, that is so nice. And this is another palette that has been out a while. I have had this in my collection a while and I just haven't used it. But this is another one, like, I don't hear much about it, but I'm really impressed with these shadows so far. And Nars shadows, they may not be like the poppiest eyeshadows ever. They definitely are not. Previous palettes that I've had from them, but there's something about them that's kind of like Charlotte Tilbury, where it's just like it smooths the eye and it just makes the eyelids look pretty and like put together, very like feminine, flawless type of look. You can see this color here, just like how smooth that's looking, it doesn't look like really creasy on my eyelid. There are some metallic shades that you can put on and you just see like every single crease of your eyelid. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go back in with that Private Show just because I really like that mauve color, and I'm going to just put a little bit more of that right along the edges. Then with that first blender brush that we used, I am going to, without putting any more product on that, just kind of go over this line right here. And before, well, after I do my foundation and stuff, I will put my highlighter, whatever highlighter I'm using, right there too. Okay, so this, I don't know, I think I'm going to take this shade right here too, just because I want to use another shade. This is called Public Eye, and this is a matte rich brown, and I'm going to use that kind of like as a liner. So I'm going to take just a little smudgy brush and dip right into there, and you can see this palette does not have very much fallout either, which is nice. And I'm going to get this just as close as I can to the lash line, and I'm just going to smudge this in there. It's not going to be anything dramatic. It's just going to make your lashes look fuller. All right, so this is the eye look. I'm going to go ahead, clean this up a little bit under here, do my other eye, put on most of my face makeup, and then we will be back for the high profile cheek palette. All right guys, I'm back. I've got most of the rest of my makeup on, so I'm gonna run you through what I put on my face really quick. I am testing out the Guerlain Lore, I don't know how you say it, that primer that actually has like gold flecks in it. I'm trying this out for a different video that'll be coming relatively soon, but that is the primer that I'm using. And then I've been using just the classic little combo, the Smashbox Studio Skin 24-Hour Hydra Foundation in the shade 1.0. Don't know why I can never remember my shade. And then the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I have mine in shade 12N, which is fair neutral. And this is just the combo that I've been using. As you can tell, I am almost out of that foundation. And then I set all that down with the MAC Studio Fix powder. This is the shade NW13. All right, and then for bronzer, I am using the Nars. This is from the Summer Solstice collection. This is the highlighting and bronzer duo, and I just swirled these two together to get this look. The glow that you're seeing right here on my cheek is actually the Bare Minerals highlighter. This is in the shade Free, and this is such a pretty highlighter and one that I don't hear anybody talking about. But such a smooth, like, blends in with your skin if you were like my skin tone. Like, look how that just blended in. So freaking creamy and pretty. And then for brows, I just pulled out my IT Cosmetics Brow Power little mini deluxe brow pencil. I don't get the best brows with this, but it's very quick, and that I can appreciate. As you can tell, it is like an oval tip, which makes it a lot quicker filling in the brows. And then this is a universal shade, so if you do it light, you're going to get like a blonde, gray, light brown. And then if you press really hard, you can get it to go all the way to like a deep brown type of a color. But yeah, that is what I have on my brows. And then of course it's got the little spoolie on the end. So not my favorite, but it's all right. All right, so that pretty much gets us caught up. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish the eyes. So I'm going to go into this high profile palette, and from this palette I'm going to use this shade right here. This is the highlighting powder in this palette. So it comes with one highlighter and what I would say is 5 blushes. It says that you can contour with this palette. I mean, I guess maybe with that dark shade there, but to me this is just a highlighter and blush palette, and it is coming off very true to color in the video right now. Beautiful like neutral type of shades. This is too dark for my skin tone to highlight. I think it's called like a shimmering bronze is how it's described. So I'm going to put this under my brow. Actually, I don't have anything there yet, so I'm going to take just a little fluffy brush, and I'm going to put this right under the brow. And I feel like that's going to make it look just that much more like fall-like. Such a pretty color. And this is said to be like an innovative Nars formula. It reminds me of their like jelly type of a formula where it is like, I don't know, it's such a smooth like baked product, I feel like. I don't know, but yeah, so that is that there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I don't know what kind of blush brush I want to use. All right, I think I'm gonna take this Crown blush brush here, and I really want to go into this shade here. This is called Spin Off, and it is described as a shimmering mauve pink, which is totally my jam. Such a shade that I would use. That's why I love these Nars palettes. It is like colors that you would use every single day. Like, this is very much like I could dip into any of these colors really and be fine. And it's not too pigmented that it's like, you know, you're scared to work with it. They really just blend so nicely. And as you can tell, what I'm doing is I'm packing the brush, but then I'm just like patting this where I want it to go, and it is just blending in seamlessly. I'm gonna take whatever is left on my brush and bring it up to my temples up here. But as you can tell, that is like a very pigmented blush. And it doesn't even look like I've used it at all. So this is after use. It doesn't look like I have touched it. As you can tell, the impressions that are on the top of the palette also are carried down to these powders. It is just such a gorgeous palette. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and move along, finish up the lower lash line. And I'm gonna take this little angled brush here, and I'm gonna go back into Public Eye, which is that matte dark brown type of a shade. It definitely has got some plumminess in here as well. And I'm just gonna get that as close as I can to that lower lash line. I am tapping this off because our makeup, of course, is already done. Not having any issues with fallout. And then I'm going to take like a flat, but like kind of fluffier type of a brush. And I'm going to go back into this shade right here, which is Private Show. Just because I really love that like mauvey, brownish type of a feel that we have going on the top. I feel like we've got enough of that green. which I love green on the eyes, especially on like brown and blue eyes. Love some green and purple, like all over the lid, I'm saying. But these two together also go really well together, in my opinion. Okay, so there is that. I think I'm gonna go back into that highlighter that I used. I don't know. We may try this, but I don't think this is gonna be bright enough. Yeah, so I'll put this like right here, but I want something brighter on the very inner corner. But I do think this is blending in really nicely with that green and purple. Okay. All right, I got my highlighter back out. Dip into there. And I'm gonna put this just right on that inner corner. Okay. Hope that wasn't blocking the camera. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this other eye real quick. All right, so I got the other eye done, and I figured we could test out this Nars Climax Mascara just to see, you know, how this performs. I have had this for a while. I haven't tried this mascara yet. The mascara retails for $24, and as you can tell, it looks just like the Climax eyeshadow palette. It has got one of those plastic bristle brushes, it looks like. Not my favorite, but let's go ahead and give this a try. So as usual, I'm going to do my lower lashes first. It's kind of a bigger brush than I usually like, specifically for the lower lashes, but I do think it's doing a nice job of separating. I feel like it's not too volumizing though, but I do like how it is separating the lashes, and it is, I guess it's giving them a little bit of volume as I keep going over it. All right, so it looks like I have a ton of lashes, right? It makes you look like you have on like those wispy lashes, in my opinion. It is really pretty. I will give it that. Not the most volumizing mascara that I have used, but I do like how it defines and separates those lashes. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and catch up the other eye, put on my lipstick, and then we'll be back for like final thoughts. All right, guys, so this is the completed look. I have on the mascara now on both eyes. I really do like it. I feel like it doesn't deepen them as much as like my Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir or that Charlotte Tilbury, what is it called? I tried this one the other day. It is the Legendary Lashes Volume 2. I feel like it doesn't do as good of a job as those two. But if you are looking for something to just darken up your lashes, define them, and really like separate them, this one is really, really good. Like I said, it looks like I have like wispy type lashes on. And if I didn't have on such a deep, like smoky makeup look, then they would show through even more. So the mascara is pretty good. Not my favorite brush. As far as the lips, what I put on was my Nars. This is one of my favorite lipsticks in general. This is the Belle de Jour, and it is like just the most beautiful nude color. It's like one of those sheer ultra moisturizing, it feels like a balm type of lipsticks. If you pair that with like a deeper lip liner like I have here, this is the Jacqueline Cosmetics, this is the shade Bourbon, and I'll give you a swatch of that. Just that nice, like very neutral brown type of a shade. I love this combo. This lipstick, like I said, with any darker lip liner is so nice. This is one of my favorite lipsticks in my whole collection. So, all right, now let's go ahead and get into the final thoughts of the stuff that we've tried. I've already kind of given you a summary of this. It is a pretty good mascara for defining. Don't get a ton of volume, but if you're looking for that definition and separation, this is a really good one. I am more of a like natural hairbrush type of a girl, and this is one of those like plastic bristle brushes, and also I feel like it's too big to really get in there on the bottom lashes. So that is that. Now let's go ahead and talk about the face palette. So this is the high profile, this is the holiday face palette. I really, with Nars, you know, I've got multiple of these face palettes. I usually pick up the face palette every year because it is such a good deal, and Nars cheap products are so freaking bomb as far as the tones. If you're like my skin tone, like I said, I don't know how these work really on deeper skin tones just because I don't have deep skin tone and I don't, you know, do makeup on different people. But they do, I think, tend to be just kind of lighter. I feel like these two shades from like previous palettes could work on, you know, deeper skin tones. But definitely not all of these, I'm sure. But just looking at some of these prior year ones, don't these color schemes look very just similar? Let me hold up this palette. So this is the one from this year, this is a prior year. But what really caught my attention, well, here's this one too. You can tell they're just very like neutral everyday type of tones. But this one I thought was so freaking similar. The only thing really that's different, in my opinion, is those highlighter shades. But other than that, these are very, very similar. This is the Exposed palette that came out a few years ago. And I will say, all of these palettes, for the most part, other than this sparkly one here, they are like ridged. If you can tell, it kind of makes it a pain to store these. And then this one, again, it's like that ridged type. And then this last one that I have here, again, you can tell it is ridged. And then on this palette, you have got this here. I just don't think it's necessary. Like, why can't we just make pretty, like, flat, easily stackable palettes? You know what I mean? Something to kind of nitpick, but I will say, if you have this Exposed palette, you do not need this palette, in my opinion. Having said that, I really do love these tones. So if you are looking for some really good Nars blushes, their blushes, like I said, they do blend like seamlessly. It looks like you don't have anything on, but the color, as you can tell, definitely comes through. You need to use very little product. This will last you forever. As you can tell, these palettes that I've had for years barely look used. However, I use these quite often. You just barely need any product. So if you like these tones, this is a really, really good quality palette. All right, and then the thing that I was probably the most impressed with is this palette from Nars. So freaking gorgeous. Like, I love this green. And then I could see using these two shades together. How freaking pretty would that be? Kind of like the same deal that we use in the crease, but if you were to put this like slate blue how freaking gorgeous would that look? And then these two shades together with this, like what? This is such a good color story in my opinion. I love these colors. These are the colors that I go to for fall or just really anytime in general. I love these like brownie, like mauvey purplish type of colors. That is like completely my jam. So I really like the way that it's laid out as well, because there's 9 shades. I feel like it's not overwhelming. It's very easy to look at this and see the different looks that you could create. So I would definitely recommend this palette. Now, I don't see this being sold at Sephora anymore, but it is still being sold on Nars' website. So if you are looking to pick this up, I would say you probably need to go ahead and start doing that, because I'm not sure if they're like not going to be selling this forever, if it's not like permanent in their line. But this is a really good eyeshadow palette. So if I had to rank everything, this would be number 1, this would be number 2, and then lastly the mascara. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you made it to the end of the video, you're awesome. Put like a little flower emoji or something. And I hope you guys will subscribe if you're not already. See you in my next one. Bye, guys.